It's back, the segment that gives you way too much information on other human beings. Do you know your teammate from West Ashley is coming up tonight?
And Game 3 of the NLDS between the Braves and the Cardinals did not disappoint, kept us on the edge of our seat until the end. That game is coming up tonight. Good evening, everybody. I'm Brianne Welch alongside Logan Reaver. Welcome to News 2 Sports Overtime, or at this hour we call it No Rules Sports After Dark.
We're seeing if we can change the name. We're seeing if it's going to go over.
Midnight. Thank you so much for watching us. And even with Clemson and South Carolina on their open week, we had plenty to keep our attention this weekend.
That is the case. Most notably, Game 3 of the NLDS between Atlanta and St. Louis, a pitching duel nail-biter. I say that because I saw that.
Yep.
How are those puppies doing? They all right? No, they're not. That is our leadoff.
The leadoff is sponsored by Universal Marble.
Postseason baseball, that's what we're talking about. It's one of my favorite sporting events. The rosters are whittled down, strategy comes into play, maybe more than it should, but really we find out which teams have it all and who can handle the pressure, because as we learned this week, pressure makes diamonds, and that was the case tonight. The Braves and Cardinals tied at 1 apiece coming into today, Game 3 in a packed St. Louis house. The story through 8 innings, the pitching was phenomenal. I know everyone likes high-scoring, high-powered offensive games, but you gotta love good pitching. For Atlanta, it was Mike Soroka. He was the starter, great once he got going, but in the second inning, with a man on, he gave up this sacrifice fly to Matt Carpenter. Deep to center field, Ronald Acuna gets the out, but that scores Marcell Ozuna, so the Cards take a 1-0 lead. After that, he was lights out. Soroka went 7 innings, giving up just 2 hits and that 1 run, no walks. For the Cards, it was Adam Wainwright. His stuff was fabulous. He held the Braves scoreless through 7.2 innings. It was only at the end of the 8th that he started to struggle a little bit. So picking up the offense in the 9th. Wainwright went out, Carlos Martinez is in. Runner on, they intentionally walked Brian McCann, who had been struggling. They get to Dansby Swanson, who absolutely crushes this one to left field. He's going to get a double out of that one. Run scores. We're tied up at 1. Dansby's fired up. The Braves have new life, new momentum. Then it's Adam Duvall. Drives it up the middle. 2 runs are going to come home on that one. And Atlanta takes a 3-1 lead late in the 9th inning of Game 3. Mike Melanson came in for Atlanta to shut the door, and shut it he does. A fly out to Ronald Acuna Jr. ends the game. The Braves steal one in St. Louis to take a 1-game lead. Game 4 is tomorrow afternoon at 3:07. That was a good one.
Oh, we know it, and you show it too. Don't show them those fingernails. Now, the Citadel versus VMI, the military classic of the South. It's a great rivalry, but one that hasn't been back and forth in a long time. The winner of the game, of course, gets the Silver Shako, and the Bulldogs have had it in their possession since 2002. AKA when people didn't use sarcasm when talking about Nickelback and that they liked them. The Dogs try to keep that streak going another year. The Keydets came to town in full force. 5 charter buses came to Charleston, but the Dogs were ready to play, and it started with a bang. Brandon Rady deep down the sideline, of course, to his favorite target, Raleigh Webb, no relation to Charlotte, sets up the Dogs on the goal line, capped off by a big-time touchdown from their leader. Rainey drives hard over the goal line and turns into a blood bank stream and shows off those veins just like that. There they are. VMI, who the Dogs had figured would run the ball mainly, did it through the air, though. Reese Udinsky to Jacob Harris, and we're tied at 7. VMI getting loud on their sideline. Then they drive right down the field after the Dogs turn it over on a fumble and score. Cadets lead at halftime. Fast forward to the second half, Dogs trail, but Rainey, another barreling touchdown run to put the Dogs to within 10. Fourth quarter now, the Citadel working the comeback. Dante Smith swerving and bouncing off dudes like they're in his girl's DMs. And again, a short yardage rushing touchdown from Brandon Rainey. You can feel the Dogs trying to take some of that momentum back, and the defense held VMI to a 3rd and 5 around midfield. One more stop, and they'll get another chance. Yeah, that's not going to do that. The Cadets with a long touchdown to put the game out of reach in the 4th. So for the first time since 2002, VMI hoists the Silver Shako. Afterwards, the Citadel coaches and players, of course, were upset. So now, how do they respond?
We got to challenge ourselves, and really, you got to challenge yourself right now as a man to be able to step back up, all right, and fight back tomorrow. As we've got to get back to work. I don't know what happened. I don't know exactly what happened today, but I know we didn't come out hungry, and that's my fault. We didn't come out ready to go, and that's my fault. We got to find a way. We didn't make enough plays. All right, both sides of the ball. They didn't turn it over once, but that's not surprising. They don't turn it over very often. You got to get them off the field. We just didn't do it.
You know, it's just a tough pill to swallow. You know, nobody wants to be that team that loses to VMI, but you know, we're gonna come back to practice tomorrow and get ready for Western Carolina next week.
This weekend, Charleston Southern was still looking for that elusive first win of the season and their first win under the Autry-Denson era. Well, they hosted newly D2 Savannah State, and that was last night. No time to waste. Get right to it. After CSU fumble, Devon Gibbons, the quarterback, has a hole, and no one's there to stop him up the middle. Savannah State capitalized on the turnover. They lead 7-0. Charleston Southern, they do answer pretty quickly, though. Jack Chambers fires to the back of the end zone. Jaquan Williams reels it in, turns and cradles it for the Buck TD. He's pumped its side 7-7. But then the woes are back for CSU. A field goal attempt later in the first half, but it's not so good. It's off the left goalpost, so no points on another possession. So that was one early issue. Here's another: turnovers. Remember, a fumble led to that first Tiger touchdown. Chambers looking to the far sideline, and he's picked off. So there's another one, and guess what? It led to another Savannah State touchdown. D'Angelo Durham drives through the CSU defense for that score. Tigers led 16-7. And Charleston Southern tried to get more offense going before the break, but Chambers is picked off again. Not a good start. CSU goes on to get the win. They come back and get their first win under the Autry-Denson era.
I won't say it. Yeah, it's a weight off my shoulder. I can't even lie to you. Yes, it is. It is. And not from the standpoint of that you ever doubt. You just want to get it done and over with so you can move on to what else you have in store for the rest of the season.
We learn from everyone. As Coach Denson said, we never lose, we learn. And that's what we did. We definitely learned. It feels great. In the locker room, the energy is higher than it's ever been. And it's definitely a good feeling, because some people might have thought that they forgot how to win. They forgot what it feels like to win. And coming back from this win, as a comeback win, especially at home, was a great feeling.
Let's turn back the clock to Friday night. Kenny Walker and Ashley Ridge in a full-on blackout for the Swamp Foxes. Early on, it's Darian Larry, 2 first names, but only one destination, the end zone. He's the thunder out of that running back crew, and you see why right there. Matthew Duncan and Ashley Ridge would respond on the following possession. He keeps it and on the read and cruises on in for a score. And immediately after, it's time to send the place into oblivion. Shire's pass off the hands of Perry Wilder, and Tyler Collins pops out of the background like his crush just took her boyfriend out of her bio. Pick 6, and the whole crew, they get so excited that they just knock my man down. I'm pretty sure that's not cool, but when you're celebrating that hard, I think anything really goes at that point. However, this shootout ended the other way. The Green Wave pull away in the fourth and take it 42-31.
Cane Bay hosted Goose Creek Gators as they looked to add another win to their record this season. It started off pretty well for the Cobras. Running back Leon Staley takes it in for the first touchdown of the game. Gets right in there pretty easily, but Goose Creek makes up for it right away. Malachi Williams takes the kickoff, and he shows off that speed, blows by everybody, gets pulled down, but holds onto the ball and scores to tie the game up at 7 apiece. Cane Bay tried to follow it up, but they couldn't get their offense going. Goose Creek stuffs their running game, and now what might be, and we did deem it, a play of the game, as receiver Damon Malzahn makes an impressive one-handed catch to give the Gators lead. That is a way to hang on to it right on the sideline, and they never looked back. The Gators take this one 49-7. Porter Gaud hosted Heathwood Hall in a conference matchup on Friday night. Homecoming, a lot of homecomings on Friday. Things didn't start great. First, they received the punt from Heathwood and fumble it to give possession right back to the Highlanders, who take advantage of that turnover. Alex Lewis, the quarterback keeper, works his way through the defense for that Highlanders' first touchdown of the game. Then, on the ensuing kickoff, this one was a little crazy. The Cyclones receive it, but just watch it. It's just kind of silly. Rondarius Parker just plucks the ball from Walker Carswell. He doesn't fumble it, just kind of takes it away and runs it back like it's nothing. So it's 14-0 Heathwood Hall. But then Porter Gaud, they get their offense working. This one pretty fancy. Matt Kelly looking for something, anything, runs almost past line of scrimmage, dumps it off to Kyle Lafayette for the Cyclones score 14-7 at the end of one. Porter Gaud made it close, but Heathwood Hall hangs on to get a region win 34-28.
And oh man, it is back. Do you know your teammate? Let's learn more about the West Ashley Wildcats, maybe even too much, when we come back.
And now the OT Spotlight, sponsored by Big Bear Roofing.
This week marked the return of our segment, Do You Know Your Teammate?, where we go from school to school and try to see how much some of these teammates really know about each other. So this week I headed to West Ashley, where let's just say I won't be heading into their locker room anytime soon. Out here at West Ashley, Jared Graham, Jordan Williams for Do You Know Your Teammate?
Just close friends since freshman year.
Close friends since freshman year. Any regrets during that time that you guys have become friends?
No regrets.
That laugh says otherwise. What's Jordan's birthday? All right, February 9th, so he lived up to it, If Jared skips school, where's the one place that you can find him? So we got at someone's house and home eating. You know, I was going to give you the chance, the platform to say maybe like charity work or like church or something like that, but worst thing Jordan has done in the locker room. We got wrestling.
Yeah.
And we got twerking. Oh. All right. Is this a one-time thing? Is this a regular thing? Is this a team bonding session? What's going on?
It's not a regular thing. It's occasional, you know.
You only break it out for the big games.
Yeah.
How horrifying is that to see?
It's terrible. Terrible.
Or who is the artist or singer most likely playing on Jordan's pregame playlist? Maybe like Taylor Swift or Katy Perry, somebody like that? NLE, and we got NL there. Very nice, very nice.
Hypeness, like every song is just hype for like no apparent reason. It's just amp.
Absolutely, man. And it gets to the point where he's twerking to it. Is that what it is? Is that what it is?
It might be. It might be.
What does Jordan think is his best physical attribute? His arms and his smile. Oh man, he tried to go all sensitive on you too. He's like, I got that smile. But that's a compliment too. He's saying the arms, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Minor flex on TV. Okay, I see you. If Jared had to go on a desert island and could only bring one thing besides food or water, what would it be? So we get the iPhone and the PS4. Where are you going to plug it into?
Oh, I never thought about that.
So is he always on his phone?
I mean, you gotta talk to somebody.
Is that what he's doing?
Yeah.
He's texting girls?
Oh yeah.
He's like, oh. They said we exposed him for that, but I think everybody knew that in the first place. Steve Bergen, the Stingrays' new head coach, may be new to the head coaching gig, but not new to the Rays organization. He served as the team's assistant for 3 seasons starting in 2016. As a former defenseman, Bergen worked primarily with that group, but is now with the Fords as the head coach. Other than that, he says that the transition from assistant to head coach in the same organization only had minor changes.
I would say just you're the decision maker, right? So you have to live with the decisions a little bit more. You have a little bit more pressure. So I would say that's the biggest difference. But other than that, it really hasn't been that much different. We're doing the same systems, the same culture, same expectations. So that has been a great transition so far.
The Monster Energy Cup Series continues today. Winner goes to the round of 8. We're at Dover International Speedway. Jump ahead to the end of stage 1. Denny Hamlin dominated from the pole on to take the first stage. Hamlin's still in the lead toward the end of the second stage, but Mark Truex Jr. sweeps in off the high side and takes the lead from him. Then he'll hang on to get the stage 2 win. So pit stops after that stage, and it's Kyle Larson's crew who gets the job done. They get him off pit road just before Hamlin. Got to give the pit crew some credit there. He takes the lead, and he is not challenged. Kyle Larson takes the checkers and secures his spot in the round of 8.
Love checkers.
Back to football we go. The Carolina Panthers in a dicey game with Jacksonville. Highlights coming up after the break.
Carolina Connection, sponsored by Preferred Home Services.
Gardner Minshew, Kyle Allen. All right, enough of that. Once thought to be nothing more than the battle of the backups, but it's funny, not just those names. When it comes to start to win the games, people don't really tend to give you that title anymore. Both men have brought their teams back from 0-2 starts and now in search of a third win in a row against each other this afternoon. We head to the only bank open on Sundays over in Charlotte, and Christian McCaffrey might want to go check his accounts and his funds for his will, because this flip made his life flash before his eyes. He's like, how about that ride in, huh, Sin City? Taking flight, and the Panthers strike first, but you knew this would turn into a shootout because Minshew has a quick run draw and a mustache that would make you think this was a 50s Wild Wild West movie. Tied at 7 after that score, but Kyle was ready to duel as well. He finds who else? McCaffrey on the little option route, and when you put a linebacker on him, you know you're going to get results like that one. Back to the Cowboy we go, though. Minshew knocked around, and the ball is going to be loose, and that's first-round pick Kyle Burns on the return, and nobody, and I mean nobody, is going to catch him. Panthers create their own Minshew mania at the bank. Second half now, a 4-point game when the seas part like Moses was in control, and McCaffrey is going to need all sorts of IVs after this one. 84 yards. He had 237 yards of scrimmage and 3 scores total. And you'd think he's back in late for the fourth to try to close it, but Reggie Bonifant, he only had 2 carries in the first 4 games, and how about this contribution? First career score, and McCaffrey on the sidelines like, oh, thank goodness, I can actually breathe for a second. A season that was deemed dead after week 2 has now been flipped on its head. Panthers win their 3rd in a row, 34-27.
We'll talk about Clemson real quick. They were open this week, as we know, and we haven't talked about it a ton this season, but that is the leadership coming from sophomore quarterback Trevor Lawrence. Even as an underclassman, Trevor is the leader of that team very clearly, especially the offense, and the guys around him see how he's stepped up or really just taken more of an upfront role this season.
He's definitely trying to motivate us, let us know that it's all right and we're going to overcome everything. He's a great leader, man, and having a younger guy, a sophomore, just wrapping his arm around you and making you feel more confident, that's all you can ask for in a quarterback.
Those are some pretty big arms, too. I don't know if former Clemson quarterback Deshaun Watson was listening to Looney's in the pregame, but sure wanted to make him proud because he had 5 touchdowns versus the Falcons. This one the most entertaining because it literally looks like elementary school recess. Keep away. He's like, no, sir, you will not have it. Late in the fourth, what a throw and what a dagger here off his back foot to Will Fuller. Texas improved to 3-2 on the season.
Let's go to New Orleans, where a former Gamecock hit pay dirt this afternoon. Teddy Bridgewater to Jared Cook. He went to Jared.
He really did.
He went to Jared. I love it. His first touchdown of the season, 26th of his career. His squad gets the W as well as versus Tampa Bay. They beat Tampa Bay.
Yeah, they beat them.
All right, they beat Tampa Bay.
Stick around after the break because it's literally history to some right here. Gem of the week next. It was the moment that swept the nation, and by nation, I mean the 2 people sitting at this desk. Brienne's field goal on live TV Friday, which led to high schoolers staring at us and wondering what's wrong with us. But honestly, that's pretty standard procedure, don't you think?
Yeah, and they can stare all they want. Look at that. That is pure joy from both of us, and the runaway.
The runaway in particular. There's something
favorite.
about Brienne's walk on here that is
I've
just
never walked with more confidence.
an unwavered confidence, and she's different from it. So we're all thankful for the kick. That changed everything.
We are.
And now, OT's The Talker, sponsored by Bojangles.
It's true. When you do something you never thought you'd do,
Right.
you walk a little taller.
Yeah. This is inspiration. How about Monday? Good way to talk about. She's glowing now, isn't she?
It's a
She's
great
completely different.
Yeah, anytime I can kick a field goal, apparently, I'm super happy.
We'll see when the next one comes.
Yeah, anyway. Well, this week we, of course, have high school football. Clemson, South Carolina are back in action on Saturday. Clemson's got a big game against FSU. South Carolina goes to play the Georgia Bulldogs in Athens. Thank you so much for watching News 2 Sports Overtime. We will see you right here next Sunday.